Hey y'all, Big Tim here. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Old School and Bass with Big Tim. First off, I want to apologize to y'all for not having a video last week. I had a little bit of an excuse. I had a death in the family, and my sister and I took a couple of days off and drove our folks out to the funeral in Missouri. And so that took us, 3, 4 days. We had to drop what we were doing to go. Kind of a sudden situation. My uncle died on Saturday, and we left on Wednesday. So I had to work Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, so I wouldn't have to take vacation days. So it was pretty hectic in the process of getting that all together. And we'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But talking about funerals, that's one of the worst things that happened in bass fishing in a long time. Aaron Martin's passed, and he'd been battling cancer. I believe it was some sort of brain cancer, but he had been battling cancer for almost 2 years. I think they said 19 months. And 49 years old, that's a tough way to go. And, everybody knows who Aaron Martins is. He's meant so much to the sport of bass fishing for the last 20, 25 years. Pretty amazing individual. He is pretty great guy. I know I met him a couple of times. One time I met him when I was marshaling for the tournament at Kentucky Lake. I believe it was the one Bobby Lane won back about 2009, 10, somewhere in there. And they had their meeting at the Paris Landing Convention Center there in the state park. And a lot of the guys drove their boats straight from the water. And Aaron had his boat pulled up in the shade there and was up tinkering with tackle, tying line, and everything else. And I went up to talk to him a little bit, and I was amazed that he literally stopped what he was doing, wanted to look you right in the eyes when he spoke with you, and actually communicated. It wasn't, a ho ho blah blah kind of conversation. He really and genuinely liked to talk to people. He loved people, and you could tell it. And I tell you, the thing that breaks my heart about the situation, not the fact that he was 49, because, it's close to my age, and, it's hard to think about one of your contemporaries, having a situation like that. But what really breaks my heart is the fact that he leaves behind a wife and 2 kids. And the heartbreaker is the 2 kids because they're in their teens. And I just can't imagine, you know, growing up the rest of your teen years and early 20s and not having your dad around, to give you some of that fatherly advice and so on and so forth. So hopefully God helps him through this period. It's going to be tough for him. It's going to be tough for his wife too. So keep his wife and kids in your prayers and the whole family. It's going to be a tough situation for him. So that really was kind of a shock because I had thought that he was working his way back. Back in the summer, I'd seen a couple videos where he'd been out fishing with friends and whatnot, and I thought he was on his way back and making a recovery. So it was kind of a shock to hear that he'd actually passed. So, like I said, keep his wife and kids in your prayers, and uh, hopefully everything works out decently for them. So we've also had a lot of other things happen in the bass fishing industry. We've had the close of the Bassmaster Opens. We've also had the uh, Bass Nation Championship. And so we've got some new Elite Series guys. We've got a few new Japanese fellas jumping over to the arena. And Jacob Prosnick is back. I like Prosnick because let's face it, us big guys got to stick together, right? Um, I really like uh, watching him fish too, listening to him. He's seems like a fun guy to hang out with, but I wouldn't know. I've never met the man, um, but I'm glad he's back. I think he'll say that he wishes he probably never left. And the other one that's back, Iconelli. Michael Iconelli is back in the Elite Series. And I know he shouldn't have left. And you could kind of tell when he was at that Bassmaster Classic back in, what was it, 2019 in Knoxville, he didn't want to go. But he thought that's what he needed to do. I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of people thought that with all the big stars going over to Major League Fishing, that Bass would fold up. and it hasn't. I can't say it's gotten stronger, but it definitely has not folded. Now, what really puzzled me was why Iaconelli had to requalify, because they have what is called the Legends exemption. And with that, anyone that's won a Bassmaster Classic or an Angler of the Year is a legend and should be allowed back in the Elite Series. And I questioned that, and I actually put it out on John Cruz's Facebook page one time because he was talking about how Iaconelli is back, and the way John explained it to me was that the Legends exemption has been reworked, and now it applies to only current fishing Elite Series fishermen. So, in other words, like David Fritz. I don't believe Fritz would have requalified to fish the Elite Series based on points. So, he's a legend. He won the Bassmaster Classic. I don't believe he won an AOY, but he won the Classic, and so he gets to keep his position in the Elite Series. Now, if you remember back, 2 years ago, that's the way Prosnick and Swindle got back into the Elite Series, was through the Legends exemption. But I guess they've tweaked it since, and that's why Iaconelli had to requalify. But I bet you it'd have been a different story if KVD wanted back in. I bet you they would have welcomed him in with open arms, or even even Jordan Lee. I'm sure they would have welcomed him back in too. But we'll see how that goes. Also, what happened? We just had what was it, about 2 weeks ago? We had the Bass Nation Championship on the Ouachita River down in Louisiana, which I've always kind of disagreed with having it down there. These are working guys like me, guys like you, that go to work every day and they're paying for their own boats and everything else. And to put it down in the swampy waters like that where lots of things get torn up. Another example is the Red River. But, it's easy to tear your boat up down there, but they keep going back. So I guess people are maybe a little more careful these days than what I'd heard stories about. But the winner of that one was a fellow named Maddie Wong, originally from Hawaii. And I watched him during the weigh-in and everything else. I think he's going to be a great Elite Series fisherman. He's a fun guy. He's 32 years old. He's, like I said, originally from Hawaii. He's now living in California and fished the Bass Nation from California. And he was joking that, some of those places that he was fishing, he couldn't get into because he didn't have good enough electronics. He's fishing out of a 30-some-year-old boat with old electronics, which just goes to show you don't have to have the latest and greatest to compete. Look at this guy. He did it with a 30-year-old boat and old electronics. So thumbs up to him. He's going to be fun to watch. I really think. He's only 32 years old. He's got a good understanding of finesse being in California, and I think he knows power. So I think he's going to be a fun guy to have on the Elite Series. So congratulations to Maddie Wong. And so going back to the funeral we were talking about, like I said, it was a great opportunity to spend some time with my folks and my sister. It's probably the first time since I was 16 years old that all four of us had been together with no grandkids, wives, girlfriends, whatever, boyfriends, husbands, just my mom and dad, me, and my sister. And it's a 9-hour drive from Cincinnati out to Missouri, where we were headed, Clinton, Missouri to be exact. And let me tell you, if you think you want to be a bass fishing pro and you want to tour the country, hook up your boat, drive from Cincinnati out to Clinton, Missouri, and see what you think. You're driving through and they cut all the cornfields down on both sides, so it's just barely sticking up. It really looked like a desert. I tell you, that's one of the most boring drives I've ever been on through Indiana and Illinois. It's just flat, nothing to see. There was no wildlife. We didn't see a single deer, turkey. We did see a few hawks on the way back. We've seen a lot of hawks on the way back, but didn't see any wildlife. Nothing. I mean, there was really just nothing to look at. To me, The ride seemed as long as going to Okeechobee, which takes about 17 hours from here. But, granted, we had all four of us in the car and we laughed and joked and tried to make the drive go along well. In fact, one of the things I like to screw up my mom a lot. And, she's an easy target. I shouldn't mess with her, but I get behind the wheel of the car, and I'm getting in, I'm getting adjusted and everything else. And I said, "So, Mom, is there anything I need to know about this car? Does it do anything odd? Is there any shimmy, whatever?" She says, "No." I said, "What about when you get it above 90? Does the steering wheel shimmy or pull to the right or anything?" She's like, "No, it doesn't do anything like that. But you're not supposed to be going over 90. Well, we went over 90 a couple of times. Not for long, but a couple of times. I mean, my first time driving a Cadillac. Got to hit it, right? But it was a nice little drive. And like I said, first time the four of us had been together for a long, long time. So that being said, I've had a video of me and Dad. We actually went down the river a couple weeks ago, and I've been working on this video for about 2 weeks, maybe more. And I just can't get it finished. I've got a little issue with my computer. That shouldn't be a big deal. It's mostly me. It's like I have ADD or something. I'm like a squirrel. I can't stay concentrated on it. I spent about 4 hours on it Saturday, and I still couldn't get it finished. 4 hours is normally what it takes me from start to finish. And I'm not even halfway where I want it to be right now. I don't understand why this video is so difficult for me to edit. But eventually I'll get this done and get it out there for you so you'll have that. It's a neat little trip to the river. It's a surprise to both myself and Dad. We didn't expect to catch anything really. And turned out it was a pretty decent day. So I've got that coming up for you as soon as I can get it edited and all of that. So that being said, all my videos, obviously this one we're releasing on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. I don't want to release it on Thursday on a holiday because y'all shouldn't be looking at your phones. You should be enjoying your families. And later on, maybe enjoying a couple beers and football, but whatever. But after Thanksgiving, everything will be on Thursday. The problem that I have is I think I may be shut down for the year. I don't have any mechanical difficulties, but what I do have is, I'm kind of allergic to cold weather. I can't handle it. So I've looked at the calendar and the long-term forecast, and it doesn't really jibe with my days off. For me, it has to be 45 and higher with sun to think about going fishing. And other than today, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Now today, yeah, I probably should have went fishing today, but I did have a doctor's appointment. Been working on trying to get my blood pressure regulated, which I think we got now. But yeah, probably should have went today. But for the rest of the next 2 week period for the long range forecast, my days off look pretty cold or wet, one or the other, or both sometimes. So I know I promised you some trips to Cumberland. I just don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully I'm not done for the year, but I also don't have a lot of expectations. So look on Thursdays at 9 o'clock. If you see a video, great. Hey, we were able to get out and get something for you. But I'm going to try to at least post something once a month, but there'll be a lot of weeks that there will not be anything. I know I've got a video I want to shoot about how to make jigs, showing you how I make my own jigs and give you a little couple tips that can help you with some other things, whether you're making jigs or not. But in the process, there are a couple of things that you might be interested to learn that could help you with other things. So I've got that coming up. That's probably going to be a 2-part series because I want to keep it under 15 minutes each one. And I've got the video for Big Bone. I think I've got some other stuff in there that I need to work on, but I don't have a lot going right now as far as video and opportunity to get on the water. So I just want to throw that out there. So I know I appreciate y'all watching. Keep an eye out. Hopefully I'll have something coming for you soon. But in the meantime, jump out there and catch a bunch of fish. Oh, there is one other thing I wanted to say. I had a couple of my friends, and they went out to Missouri as well and fished Table Rock Lake with that $1 million, uh, what would you call it, winnings? Grand prize. Yeah, the $1 million grand prize. And not going to mention their names. They know who they are. I didn't ask their permission, so I can't show their pictures. Um, but they showed a really nice limit of Kentuckies, spotted bass, Kentuckies, we call them here. And I love seeing big Kentuckies. I love Kentuckies. So if you guys have any pictures of big Kentuckies and you want to post them down below, do it. I mean, I love seeing those big Kentuckies. Smallmouth are nice too, but they're kind of common. Largemouth are very common. But seeing big Kentuckies is kind of odd. So if you got any of those, please share them. But anyway, until next time, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the water eventually.